A rusting control panel with loose wire. This panel usually closes the water lock. You pull the lever, or nothing happens. A spring bring. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored?
Hello again, my man. What's on your mind?
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says your bottles clunk into the machine. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste.
I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal spray. Dramamine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. No, sorry. I'm not like a doctor or anything.
The unpromising race pupil returns. Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital. Something your race, naivistic communists, never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline, jam, individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate offshoots of the Seminoles people invented disco while having sex under the influence of cocaine. It is a shame upon my race. But what is done is done. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Semines race.
Measurehead stoically looks to the distance in silence.
And look, babe. When confronted with the harsh truth of his demise, the melancholic academician starts fiddling his own genitalia. His bald spot betrays that he is a compulsive masturbateur.
That's disgusting, Jean.
It is. Beneath the veneer of academic jargon, the liberal theorist is a beast, a sexual maniac, and a deprived nihilist. Life is a game to him. Words are meaningless. No one is accountable for anything. Nihilistic sex maniac. I take pity on your urges. You clearly want to enter the harbor bad, like a little boy who wants to go on the potty. I can press the button for you. It will open the door. Very well. You may enter the door once. Our race conversation here has concluded.
Finally. Let's go.
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate political opinions somewhere in Martinez. The air suddenly feels calmer, more transparent in a strangely tender way. Perhaps it's the hangover. Perhaps it's a temporary surge of serotonin. But something tells you it's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience. It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times. Incrementally. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment. The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The kingdom of conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual. Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising? That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
unpromising race pupil returns.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
What happened? Did you? What else? How does it come off? Nice and balanced. Some junior officers can take care of the rest.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph, in her hands, in the background. No response, wherever. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just...
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, it appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven capital letters. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must...
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoe. All items on the list. The drawer slides shut. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. It's unclear whether you actually have muscle memory. Right now, your finger is just drawing vaguely occult patterns in the air. Undoubtedly, no. Sure, why not? Muscle memory is a tricky thing. Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. There is a white rectangle clearly visible on its back. This is your cloak. You can feel it.
Yes, It does bear the RCM insignia, and we are the only detectives in Martinez. The service cloak issued to you by your station? Yes, I do.
As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like the cloak wants to deliver a message of comfort through your fingertips. I will shield you from the elements and give my life for yours. That's what the cloak is relaying. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friso. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, the magazine is divided into several sections: international developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, Du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way, but like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling this thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with art. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of internet. Judging from the context, it's something very large and fundamental. You should probably know about it already. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious script. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You flip back to the front of the magazine. Numerous empty wine bottles glisten in the rain. Someone partied really hard here. Well, they went through 6 bottles of potent Pilsner, 3 bottles of Commodore Red, and almost 4 packs of cigarettes.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. Yes, this looks pretty advanced, all right.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure. As long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of...
The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth is immaculate. The drawers are empty, save for old timesheets and receipts. One small box, however, does hold some cheap. You stand and exit the booth. Rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. Allumer, on, éteindre, off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving an escalator container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose,
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers. except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
Is this like your thing with that wall again? You do? Because there are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here. We are not here to interact with containers.
No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. Doesn't sound like there's anything inside the lieutenant. To no avail. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisund on Muindi.
Oh yes, born and raised in Arish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am, yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union colors. It's like some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core. There appear to be cisterns underneath the Union container covers.
Oh, I don't know, mister. They say it's some chemicals. Most of them have labels on them, I think.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Mr. Everett doesn't tell— Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike.
So no one is...
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. No, I don't think they killed anyone. Let's better talk about something else. Titus and his boys do good work. I don't want to get them in trouble over a little drinking.
He probably doesn't know anything anyway. Who in their right mind would tell him?
Oh, yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't speak. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers.
Told you.
Oh, you want Mr. Everard then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighbourhood. Guys like Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everard and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everard is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.